What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about 3 reasons I'm super excited for Dying Light 2. So I've seen that it seems like my Dying Light 2 videos do really well. A lot of you guys really like them, and I really like making these videos. I love talking about Dying Light 2, and I honestly cannot wait to talk more about this game once it gets, finally the release date. Once we start getting closer to it, I'm sure we're going to get a whole lot more information on this game. We'll see it more often, and then I'll end up making a lot more videos on it. So now, really quickly, before I jump in, I want to promote our Discord server. We're getting really close to 500 members. It'll be in the description below. If you guys have not yet checked it out, please do. Please check it out. There's a lot of really awesome people there, very willing to talk about pretty much anything. I'm sure as Dying Light 2 gets closer and closer, more people will end up talking about that as well. So again, if you haven't yet joined, it'll be in the description below. Okay, let's go over. And again, this is a fun list. This is just my opinion. These are 3 kind of random reasons that popped in my head. I wrote them down. 3 reasons that and I think that a lot of people should be very excited, or why you should be very excited for Dying Light 2. The first one is next-gen oriented. So this game, one thing that has worried me is kind of how they've handled the delaying the process, right? Of the game coming out, delaying the release date, making it go indefinitely. I've always said I don't really love it when games say, "Hey, we don't have a release date for you. We're going to delay it indefinitely." Watch Dogs has done it. Dying Light's done it. A couple other games have done it in the past. I mean, games in general have. That is a little worrisome. But what I will say is, 1, I understand why. 2, I'm not really worried about the quality of this game. I think there's a lot to love about this game. We'll get into that later on in this list. But another part of that, and the reason I say the next gen oriented, is that's the main reason. Techland has talked a lot about next gen consoles, mainly PlayStation. Mainly they've talked a lot about the hardware of PlayStation. Talk about ray tracing, right? That is a really big thing that they're going to be focusing on for Dying Light 2. So that excites me. It excites me that again, is it not the greatest thing that's been pushed really far out, and when we were supposed to probably get this game like 2019 spring? Yeah, but at the same time, when we get it, it's going to be, I think, heavily for next gen. Now, does that mean it's only going to be on next gen? No, I actually still think, in general, I think this game is going to be a cross-generation game. I think you'll be able to play this game on the PS4 and on Xbox One. But I feel like, you look at games like Cyberpunk and you look at games like Assassin's Creed, games that you kind of know will be, I guess, keyword optimized, right? When developers or publishers always say that, optimized for next gen. Dying Light 2 is a game that jumps into my head that, yeah, this I think is a game that when we see it again, as it gets closer, you're going to hear a lot of that. You're going to hear a lot of how they're taking advantage of next-gen consoles, how the game is optimized for next-gen, how really next-gen is probably going to be the best place to play this game. It's early on in fact, we haven't even gotten to next-gen, right? But over the next year, and even the next 2, 3, as we go on these years, we're going to be early on in next gen, okay? Technically, I think none of these games are really going to push next gen as far as it can go for a while, okay? And really, the games that are going to push it as far as they can go is probably first-party studios, okay? Because they're the ones that only focus on next gen, right? Or on that console, so they can really push it. They don't have to worry about optimizing it across the board, stuff like that, like, making it to the lowest common denominator, all that kind of stuff. But when I think of games that I think are going to seriously impress on next gen, like it's just going to look like, yeah, you know what, this is a game that isn't really possible on current gen. Although ironically, again, I think it will be on current gen, it just won't be in its best state. I think Dying Light 2 is absolutely a game that's going to say, hey, that's a next, you know what I mean? You're going to play that game, you're going to see other people playing it, and you're going to say, yep, that's a next gen game. And that's one of the reasons why it super excites me. The second reason is honestly the loyalty and support that Techland has had for Dying Light 1. That's a reason for me to be excited about Dying Light 2. And honestly, that holds a lot of weight. That's not really a feature and aspect I talk about with a lot of developers, but Techland, look, Dying Light is old. It's an old game, and they are still having updates. They're still having events, right? There was the event this summer. They are still supporting that game. So yes, I mean, Dying Light 2 isn't even out yet. Obviously, there's that initial wave of obviously playing the base game and all that stuff, and hopefully it's good and we all want it to be good and stuff like that. But, if I have to pick a developer that I really trust that cares about the game and cares about the longevity of that game, while also, ironically, right, giving us a new game. That's the difference, too, is, yeah, there's a lot of studios that have done it really well. Even like DICE with Star Wars Battlefront 2, that they did it pretty darn solid. They gave us a lot of content right throughout a long time. Ubisoft, they have a lot of their developers constantly, updating their games. We have like Rainbow Six Siege, which is still thriving. For Honor, which is still thriving. There's studios that Dead by Daylight, right? You can keep going through examples of studios studios that really are supporting the heck out of the current game. However, Techland, I would actually kind of give the one up to them, because not only are they doing that, they're supporting a game that's very, very old, that, eventually you have to let go of old games, but obviously they don't care about that, right? They're still supporting that game, while at the same time making a game that we all hope and we all expect, right, to be better in every way. You know what I mean? So just the fact that they have that loyalty to the first game, that they want to keep supporting that, and also the fact that they are willing to give us more games, I think that's an amazing sign. So that gets me pumped, because Dying Light 2, I'm very excited for it. I played the first one. I love the first one. I'm ready to play the second game. And again, a thing that we can all kind of, I think, rest assured with is we're going to get that base game. We're going to get that base experience. And then afterwards, we're going to get more. They're going to support it. We'll have DLCs, we'll have events, we'll have stuff in this game that'll last for a while. And again, we also don't need to be worried that, hey, they've been supporting Dying Light 2 for like 3 years now. Like, hopefully it's not taking from a third game. No, they're actually, you know what I mean? I assume that you're going to make a third game. So that really, really gives me confidence. There are a lot of developers that support their current game, but a lot of them have to kind of choose, like, hey, do we want to support the current game? Even like Bungie with Destiny, right? They're doing the exact same thing. They basically came out and said, hey, we don't want to start from the ground up for Destiny 3. We're not going to do it. We're just going to keep supporting Destiny 2, and we're going to work on all these new features for that game to keep it going long term. So again, you have these developers that basically have to decide, hey, we either keep focusing on the game that we're doing and keep it around for a long time and supporting it, or we have to really drop in. We have to take a ton of time and all these risks of making a brand new game. And Techland seems like they want to do both. You know what I mean? So again, very, very good sign. A very dedicated developer, and a developer that I want. Again, a little worried about how they've handled the delay and the rumors that the game is a disaster, but I think we've kind of gone past that. A lot of people have said that's not true. And again, are there things to be concerned about? Absolutely. But these guys care. These guys super, super care. And that's really, really great to see. So we have that. And the third thing, which you can kind of say is a cop-out, is the stuff we've already seen. So we've seen, in fact, you guys are seeing it now. It's the only thing that's out on Dying Light 2, right? The only thing we have to go off of is the gameplay that I believe was a few years ago at E3, which was a pretty long demo of Dying Light 2. And I know it's not perfect. I know it's definitely not perfect. It's been a little while. So so again, like, I want to see it now. I do have confidence it's going to be solid. I have confidence it's going to be a good game. But at the same time, again, it's been a little while. We know that the game is, again, it maybe hasn't had quote-unquote problems, but when you delay a game, that does kind of mean it has had some problems. You know what I mean? Or they just haven't been able to fit everything in the time that they want it to. I would like to see the game again, but credit where credit's due. I love what we saw. What you guys are seeing right now. What I've watched a couple times too. The gameplay is really, really solid, and they have. And you can even go back. You can even kind of add on to this point of what we had with Dying Light. You know what I mean? Dying Light is a good game. So they're already going from a point of strength. They're already starting off with a game that's extremely, extremely smart. A game that's extremely, extremely well done, and a really, really good foundation, and they're just building off of that. And again, we got to see a little bit of what that was with the gameplay of Dying Light 2. We've also heard stuff, like they've talked about how things are going to work in Dying Light 2 and different features and different aspects of this game. It really does sound like everything the first game had, but increased and improved upon. You know what I mean? So I'm really, really pleased. Honestly, I'm pleased with what we saw a little while ago. Now, again, I want to see it now, especially, this game, I really do think it's closer to being done than we think. I think, again, I don't think we would necessarily see it in 2020 in terms of releasing it in 2020, but I think early 2021, or at least the first half of 20, I think sometime, before this time next year, I think we'll all be playing this game. Okay, so it's not all that far out. I want to see this game again, but really, it would be, I think, a much different story if what we had so far wasn't that good, and we were like, ooh, there's this problem, there's that problem. I don't really know how this is going to work. I don't really have confidence in this. You know what I mean? It would be different if we had that, because then we only have one thing to go off of. We have all these concerns, all these worries on that one thing, and then they don't show us anything since, and the game gets delayed, and the game gets delayed indefinitely, and there's rumors of there being problems in the studio, all this stuff. It can really add up and make it look bad. Luckily, they're coming again from a really good foundation. Dying Light 1, a really amazing game. all the stuff, all the updates, right, they've done to Dying Light 1 makes it even better. The fact that they're still supporting that game. What we saw of Dying Light 2 looks really solid. What we've heard about Dying Light 2 sounds, I guess, right? Or I guess when we're reading it, looks really solid in terms of words on a sheet of paper. So a lot of positive signs. The only thing left is the release date. I think once they give the release date, then they kind of, the bridge is open, the dam is open, and all of a sudden now there's tons of stuff coming out on it. You know what I mean? Lots of gameplay that we're going to see. I think in the Summer Games Fest, this June through August thing, the summer thing, I think we're going to see something about this game. I don't really think this game can go through this summer and into the fall without without talking about anything. In fact, remember a few weeks ago we talked about the rumors or the recent talk from one of the game developers that works on them that said hey, the team that focuses on the release date, they're working on it very hard. So I really don't see how over the next couple months we don't get this. You know what I mean? I don't think this game is coming out in November, although it's definitely possible. We talked about that, right? The fact that it's a game that does already exist, so it's not like you're announcing a game and then releasing it right after. The game, we already know it's out, or it's in development, okay? So the fact that they could just come out and say, hey, release date's this day on this month, and that month is only 3-4 months away, I think it's definitely possible. I don't think it's the most likely. Again, I still think it's sometime in the first half of 2021, but we're really, really close. So, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What are some reasons why you're super excited for Dying Light 2? Do you have any worries? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And again, like I've said, as Dying Light 2, as stuff comes out about this game, the release date, more videos, more gameplay, I'll definitely be covering it, okay? So more Dying Light 2 videos in the very near future, I hope, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.